Ever since Avengers Endgame, Marvel has been giving us pretty much flop after flop, and now Deadpool and Wolverine was supposed to be the movie that saved it all, that brought the franchise back, that's gonna make people love it, but I just did not like this movie at all. I mean, let me know down in the comments if you liked it and what reasons why, but just from the plot and storyline of the movie, there are some problems with it. Now, the profanity was one thing. I don't care for that at all. It was definitely over the top. I'd seen the previous movies and I knew what to expect, but this was just on a whole nother level. But it was the story to me that made it bad. There wasn't a very compelling story at all, and a lot of the scenes just seemed pointless based on the background of the characters. When it comes to the story, you need to have some kind of stakes for the characters to overcome to make it interesting. And yeah, he had to save his world, which, is pretty important, but with the multiverse situation and realities being destroyed like it's no big deal, it almost felt like, what does it really matter? And the second problem is that neither main character can really die, at least not very easily. And so, aside from seeing their teammates die, which they didn't really seem to care about at all, you don't really have any investment in the characters. And because they can't die, the multiple fight scenes that we see between the two seem pretty pointless and just a waste of time to watch. You already know that neither is going to die, so you're not really rooting for either to win, but rather simply just waiting for them to get on with the actual mission at hand. And then of course there's the profanity. Now, like I said, I've seen the other movies, I knew what to expect, but most of the crude jokes weren't even funny in my opinion. And aside from just not being funny, it's like we're talking about something that has to do with the story, and then sideline, let's make some jokes on this person that have nothing to do with what we're talking about. Okay, now let's get back to what we're talking about. There needs to be reason for dialogue in movies. Like I'm in the process of writing my own movie, and I've rewritten so many times because you want to get in there and be like, okay, I don't want to be saying the obvious. How can I show this without saying it? Trying to be really concise so I'm not wasting people's time with it. But I didn't really see much of a reason for a lot of the dialogue, and the script really sounded like it was written by an annoying, degenerate teenager. Now, one thing that was pretty cool that, spoiler alert, let you know right now in case you haven't seen it, which I wouldn't really suggest seeing it, but there were some cool cameos of a lot of characters that we haven't seen in a long time, but that was about it as far as good parts go. If you take away the unnecessary fighting that happened between the two main characters and the extra ridiculous dialogue, you probably could have told this entire story in like 45 to 50 minutes. Just a simple Disney Plus one-off episode of a TV show. Marvel did a really good job of building up all these movies and intertwining plots over the whole Infinity Saga leading up to Avengers Endgame. I mean, there were some dumb movies in the mix here and there, but overall it was pretty cool how they did it and had a lot of good payoff in Endgame with jokes and things that came through the whole movies, especially with the Captain America and Thor's hammer, just things like that that really paid off and made it fun to watch, even though a lot of the end of Endgame didn't really make sense and could have been written better in my opinion, but that's a whole different story. However, the Marvel movies have been going downhill since that, except I'll give them the last Spider-Man movie. That was pretty good, and how they brought in the cameos of the old Spider-Man. Sorry if you hadn't seen that yet. But this one just made me even less interested in continuing to watch movies in the franchise. Granted, I am glad to see that it wasn't full of wokeness like the Star Wars Acolyte show, but it seems like they went a little too far in the opposite direction. I just miss going to the movies and being hooked by a good story and enjoying it, but who knows, maybe Marvel will learn how to do it again someday. But if you have any questions about how to use your camera to tell better stories, I have tons of videos on the channel, lots of playlists just showing you all the technical aspects of your camera, learning things like shutter speed, aperture, ISO, frame rates, and then moving into things like lighting, framing, how to use your camera to tell a story, dialogue, so much that goes into it that you don't even realize until you start making your own short films, feature films. But you can do it. It's a learning process everyone goes through, and I have a lot of stuff here to help you on the channel. So if you have any questions, post them down in the comments and I'll help you out there. Like this video. Again, let me know what you thought of the movie. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you on the next one.